Recently, CME futures were added to the XRP database. Many of you may not have known the full impact, the amount of volume it created, or what this means for the future of XRP. Well, I did the math and will show you all the hard facts in today's video to show you how amazing this is. It made me very excited about the future of XRP, what this means for institutional adoption, and in the possible futures contracts. I think some of you will feel the same way when you see some of the numbers I'm going to show you in this video. Please click the like button if you do. Everyone gets it. So let's talk about CME and explain what it means for those who don't. The Chicago Mercantile Exchange Group, or CME, is the biggest swaps trade in the world. What does this have to do with XRP? Well, on May 19, they put XRP futures and micro XRP futures on their markets. We all know that XRP is a great cryptocurrency, and this gave institutional buyers safe ways to get into it. This shows that both big and small investors are becoming more interested in XRP. Before it went live, I talked about this pretty big change on my YouTube channel, but since then I've learned a lot more about the volume, how these institutions are using it, and what this might mean for the future of XRP. But first, let's talk about some of the tools and analytics we can use. Basically, they have pricing and analysis tools that can help you make and improve your XRP trading plans. They have price history and a tool for country strategy analytics. The report data shows market positions long and short and how they have changed over time. This is very helpful for traders who want to see how many longs and shorts are open on the market right now. You may already know this is important for XRP, so let's talk about why. Since different types of Solana have been around for a while, the first thing we should do is compare the XRP derivatives to the Solana derivatives and look at the volume numbers to see which one is moving more. If Solana is growing much faster than XRP, it's clear that institutions want Solana more. But I saw something very different when I looked at the numbers that we will talk about next. For starts, in a moment, some companies use micro XRP futures to manage their risk more precisely, which lets institutions fine-tune their exposure without taking on too much debt. This is where a big chunk of the total amount comes from. If we scroll down, we can see that there were a lot of trades. Not much is known about how they exactly affected the XRP ledger. But here's a summary of the trade amounts that have been reported on the first day of trading, May 1819. Over $19 million worth of trades were made, and a blog trade was cleared by Hidden Road. This included both normal XRP futures, which are worth 50,000 XRP each, and micro XRP futures, which are worth 2,500 XRP. For example, there are about 4 normal contracts worth 480,000 XRP each, and Tadaro and 6 micro contracts worth about 1 million XRP. On day 2, trading volume supposedly went over 10 million XRP, though some sources say it dropped to around 7 million XRP in the days that followed. We heard of a single day volume of about 2.4 million XRP, with 9 standard contracts and 1 million XRP at 235 XRP traded. The micro contact amounts were not fully described or available. That's still pretty good, but the $19 million first day volume and later trading activity showed that institutional interest has grown, which makes the XRP a good investment. The more liquid controlled markets like CME are, the more stable the price of XRP can stay by lowering volatility. We saw this with Bitcoin when these types of futures contracts became public a while ago. They had a big effect on how stable Bitcoin was. When the Bitcoin ETFs went live, the total volume went up in a way we'd never seen before. The CME CFXRP dollar reference rate is used to settle CME's futures. It's a clear standard that helps find the best prices and make sure the market price of XRP is in line with what institutions are doing. In X posts, people were optimistic about XRP's price because of the large number of purchases at the beginning of the sale. Some users also worried if future ETF approvals would happen, so that must be the next step, right? Institutions are using CME futures contracts, which is great, but ETF approvals are bigger. It's clear that this is the first of many steps, so it made sense for me to ask about other crypto options and how they were doing. For example, Bitcoin futures had an average of 98,000 contracts every day, worth about $11.3 billion. Bids were placed on about 251,000 contracts worth $21.8 billion, which is an increase of 83%. Ether was also worth about 50 ETH per contract, with the CME CF Ether dollar reference rate being used for settlement. Finally, each micro Ether contract was worth about ETH, in the 11.3 billion Ether that was traded over 3 months in Q1 25 made a big difference to CME. That's pretty good. We're up against Ethereum, but XRP gets about 19 to 10 million per day on average. If you add that up over a quarter, you can see how strong our market is. That's crazy. That being said, Solana is another coin that I know a lot of you are interested in. For example, how is XRP different from Solana? For example, Solana futures have gained 705 million in notional value since their launch, which is a lot less than the 19 million XRP that they had on their first day. Solana is much less valuable than XRP. Solana's futures are known to have a lot of institutional interest because Sol is becoming a more popular and fast blockchain. It's clear that people are interested in Solana, but I think a lot of you should be happy about how much more people are interested in XRP. Even though Ethereum has a much larger market capitalization, XRP is competing with it and even going faster than Solana. It's great news. And I think you should be very excited if we get billions of dollars worth of volume similar to Ethereum in our first quarter. On the CME contract here, that will definitely make a lot of people use XRP, and it will also help keep prices stable, which I'm very excited about. The price of XRP has dropped a lot recently, along with the price of most cryptocurrencies. In the middle of May, XRP was worth about 2.3 versem a coin, but now it's worth 2.15 a coin. To be honest, the price has been pretty stable lately. In the short term, I think it's likely that XRP will drop even more, but this is still very important for long-term use and prices, right? Until these futures happen, the price of XRP won't change exactly because of them. However, we can see how they changed the price of Bitcoin when ETF CME futures and other things first came out for Bitcoin. The price didn't change much at first, but as time went on, and it was clear that these contracts made the price of Bitcoin go up when more institutions learned about their benefit. ETFs are the most important piece of this puzzle that we're still waiting to see for XRP. Once you know that those ETFs are fully accepted and being traded by big names in the space like BlackRock and Grayscale,